This episode of the Turf District podcast is brought to you by ATB. With ATB Cares, giving is easy. Donate through ATB Cares and ATB will match 20% of every dollar donated to eligible Albertan charities, maximizing the impact of your donation. Visit atbcares.com to choose your cause and donate today. Enjoy the show.
We ain't gonna ever back down from nobody. I don't care who it is. This is a brotherhood. And if we stand strong together, we can't be denied. If one of us goes down, we have another, and another, and another that's ready to fight. So let's hit this field and bang them, bang them, bang them. Somebody light me up.
It's time to huddle up. It's the Turf District podcast. Welcome back to the Turf District, where we huddle up to talk all things Edmonton Elks and the CFL. And we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported, and we are also a part of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. Welcome into the district tonight. We have an amazing guest, and the season is done. Grey Cup is finished. We are going to talk a bit about that and so much more on the show tonight. First, let's go to my regular co-hosts, my best buds, all the people that are regularly here, starting with the one way out west who very kindly had me over to his place for watching this game and swearing at the TV. Superfan Mike. It was actually, it was do you need a drink after that? Because that must have been hard to say. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll detail that out in a little bit, but first let's go to the Christmas zone and welcome in Commissioner Kayla.
I like.
Oh, really? Well, you know what? Everyone's going to get a great rendition of what you thought of the game later, but this is why we have Ivea running in the background. Hi, Kayla.
Hi, and I'm much too close apparently. Oof.
You're much too close? Oh, I think you're fine. I think you're fine. Like I said, you're in the Christmas zone. You can be as close as you want.
Yes, well, I don't want to be that close. Come on. About social distancing in every area of my life.
Social distancing, Kayla's regular life. Okay,
before it was cool.
Yeah. Trendsetter. It's lovely. Yeah. Guys, we have an amazing guest.
Yes, we do.
Joining us once again, of course, in the virtual Turf District this time, but the first time on the video pod. It is our good friend, number 93, Earth Kwaku Boateng. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing very well. Oh, look at this. Neat. I decided to put Commissioner Kayla up in the top of your screen for some reason. I'm not sure why I decided to do that. Just hold please while we fix that. There we are. Look, nope, she's still there. She didn't really like to. Yeah, everyone likes to look at Kwaku and Kayla at the same time. It's perfect.
She's doing subtitles.
Kayla, I hope you can you do ESL? Can you just do the sign language part just while Kwaku talks?
That'd be pretty funny.
I can't wait for. So Kwaku, the first question that definitely comes to mind is it really hula hoops? Kayla? ESL that. Come on now. There we go.
I don't know.
I think we found the new feature of the show with Kayla trying to do sign language in the top corner. Oh my.
But yeah, like if you look at it, it originated from sacking Mike Riley back in I think 2019 in BC.
Yeah.
And I was just used to, at that point I was like, man, like, I'm tired of always doing the bat swing, right? I want to have something additional to that because I want to, inspire myself to get more than one sack, right? So it's like, okay, if the more celebrations I draw up, the more it encourages me to get sacks. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a mental like catalyst for me. So I just told the boys, I'm like, man, I'm just gonna hop and do a hula hoop and just throw that thing. And then everyone was like, no, you're not. Like, that doesn't make any. Like, they couldn't even comprehend what I was even talking about. So I was like, watch, I'm gonna get a sack this week, and it's Mike Riley. And I tell everyone knows I love Mike Riley because he holds on to that ball. So I love him so much. As a pass rusher, you want a quarterback that's confident enough to stay in the pocket and deliver that ball. So whenever we play Mike Riley, I'm amped up, and I'm glad I was able to pull out that hula hoop celebration. And then there's a hula hoop celebration, so it's for it's E. It's for everyone, it's PG. So yeah, it's hula hoops. It's just sometimes, I just get lost in the hula hoop. You know what I mean? So, but overall, it's just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun just to go out there, get sacks, and celebrate with my teammates.
Calvin says, we had Calvin McCarty on last week, and he says, can you please tell Kwaku to stop that because I have to explain it, or I'm going to get Uncle Kwaku to explain it to my daughter. It's like, no, you don't need to watch that. Just stay over here. All right, let's get a little bit more serious, but because I do want to talk about the big game, but we'll talk a bit about this past Elk season. Now, there was lots of changes and coach changes, of course, with all the different protocols, lots of different players. You still had Coach Maxey, though. So tell us about your relationship with him and having that bit of consistency as in a season that was definitely a lot of other turmoil.
Yeah, I think with a lot of moving pieces throughout the years, having Coach Maxey as that fixed component to it has been a huge blessing. I know not just for myself, but also for my teammates as well. It's just nice to create almost like a family feel, regardless of what's happening outside of our D-line room. We really just beat to our own drum, you know what I mean? And we've seen it on tape when our D-line is able to get consistent pressure or get after the running back, get behind there. It changes the dynamic of the game, regardless of whether the offense is sparking or going off or not, or the secondary is helping us. So it changes the whole game, right? So we take that to a new level with Maxey. And Maxey, I think one of the best things that people don't get to see is that he's able to manage a room very well. And in a time where everyone's used to getting a lot of sacks on our D-line. Like historically in the past 3 years, past 3 years, we've been either number one or number in the top 5 in sacks, right? Mm-hmm. So to be in a situation where we're not scoring points, we're not able to stop offenses, we're not able to win these games, we're not being put in position to get sacks, to be in a room full of guys like that, it's going to be tough. You know what I mean? There's going to be egos clashing and all that, because at the end of the day, we all know why we're here. We're here to get sacks and help the team win, win games and whatnot. So he's just able to control the room very well. And I think it just goes back to just having that consistent coach there, or that consistent flow where everyone just trusts him and he trusts us. So it made the season a bit easier to bear. But at the end of the day, we all know we're here to win games and whatnot, but he definitely made it a bit easier to bear this season.
That's awesome. Well, we did have the consistency in the coaching room. For the first time in 9 years, we didn't have a very big presence in the middle of that line with obviously a good friend of yours, Kwaku, Mondo Sewell.
I play both.
Kwaku does love himself.
I morph into G.I. Joe looking at.
Nice. Robots in disguise.
Depends on the down, but carry on.
So with Mondo gone, how has that been for you both as a player and personally?
Honestly, I think first off, I think Jake does a great job at that one tech spot,
For sure.
and it's a tough spot to play in, and he's been able to be so dominant at that position, especially when he's able to migrate to the three tech spot. But obviously, having Mondo around, someone that's an all star, someone that's been in the league for so long, um, he takes so much attention away from the rest of the D line, and I didn't understand that until he left. Right, so you don't know what you have until it's gone. I knew how valuable he was, but to be on that boundary side alone or with Jake now, it was a different dynamic throughout how the O line would scheme. They would pick and choose who they would double and whatnot. But with Mondo there, it's like they didn't pick and choose, right? So like, if they don't double me, right? If they double me, then Mondo's 1-on-1 with whoever, and that's a surefire win, right? So not having Mondo around kind of changed the dynamic. But I think that having our rookies like Costigan come in, all right, and dominate the edge at that point as an O line, who are you really going to double, right? So I think that we lost a big key player on our D line, but we started getting efforts from different places that we probably didn't think we would get that fast from these young guys. So I think that everything's going out well for the Elks right now, especially on the D line. So, and to piggyback that on what Andrew said before about Maxi, I hope all that stays the same because there's a great D line with the Elks right now.
For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I can't speak for the dudes, but I know for me, I want to keep Maxi around. So. Well, but I'm in that same camp. But I feel like as the Elks organization, we've been blessed with phenomenal defense for the last couple of years at least. And, Thorpe is a big contributor to that. As far as this season goes, the defense really did carry the team a lot of the games. But how was Thorpe compared to other coaches in your life? How would you kind of categorize like how each of those coaches impacted who you are as a player today?
You mean just in the league or just in the CFL or all my coaches?
Your life. Go for it.
Yeah, Coach Thorpe. In my head, he likes an aggressive defense. He's very detail oriented. He just looks at the game from a very X and O kind of standpoint, and I think that with the guys that we have on our defense, we did our best to get after the quarterback. We did our best to protect the deep ball, and at the end of the day, I think that he's a very detail oriented coach that he just takes the game to a different level. So that's what I really learned about having him as a DC is that he really cares about attention to detail. So you got to look at the defense in the different lens for the first time, at least for me, in certain circumstances.
Did that mean a lot more film study type thing when you were with Thorpe in
No,
comparison?
it's like literally like I mean attention to detail in the sense of if we're gonna come off the edge or on a blitz, let's say, it's making sure that our first step is pointed more 45 degrees angle to quarterback, like literally to a point where it's like X's and O's on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Very, very detail oriented, right? So, and that's just how he rolls. So, and you saw how our defense performed. So, it's just more so about really, really about our angles, really, really about every step counts and exactly which angle you're going at it. So, and a lot of film especially on special teams as defense. So just different. He just takes the game to a different level or a different perspective.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. We'll get back into more Elk stuff in a minute, but I do want to talk about the game a little bit with a guy who knows something about it. Now, I know it's never the guys that aren't in the game. I know it's not their favorite game to watch. I understand that, but you still have a totally different perspective than we do. So, the Grey Cup. As I was watching it, I was thinking, okay. You said that, Mike. Like the home team got up, and we thought, oh my, how is this going to go? And then that fourth quarter and that wind just changed everything. So now you've played in Hamilton before. You've played in other games before. Have you ever played in a game that had that kind of wind? Because I think that played a huge role in this game.
Um, not that I can recall, but we've definitely played in some harsh weather. You know what I mean? Even when we played Winnipeg, up until like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. the morning of,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
right? And when we played, I think every year I've played in SAS since 2017, it's been above 22, 23 degrees. Below negative 20,
Yeah.
22 degrees. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like we played in some harsh games, and that's the thing about football. You know what I mean? Like especially when you play outside of like when you play outside instead of in a dome. Really, you just got to go through the elements, and that's what makes the game so much more fun to watch. I think.
Yeah. Fun to watch, not so fun to play.
No, 100%, especially when it's raining and all that. But again, it just makes it swings the pendulum. You know what I mean? It just what scouts or what bettors would think would be the winner or whatnot. And sometimes when you change the elements, the underdog can actually prevail from it because it might suit them better. So I think again, it just allows the game to be free flowing and have those
Yeah.
random wrench games where like it doesn't go as planned.
Yeah, well, this one had a few moments like that. That's for sure. Super fan, give me your breakdown of the game. What stood out for you, and what if you have any questions for Kwaku, just add them in.
For me, I was just really impressed by the defense on the Hamilton side. We have the two of the top 5 defenses in the league this year playing against each other. So I guess we shouldn't have been too surprised. But yeah, it seemed to be just a back and forth, and all the 2 and outs from both Winnipeg and Hamilton. It surprised me. Even with those strong defenses, I thought they'd figure out some way to move the ball a little more. But I mean, like you said, I think that wind played a big thing. And then the end of the game, I think they're going to be debating that call to take the knee in the end zone when you're down by 2 to make it down by 3. And now, I mean, especially on a kick where you've still got maybe 20, 25 yards before anyone's there. Maybe run it out, see if you can get to the 25 and go. But now all of a sudden you're not playing for the win, you're playing for a tie with a field goal and sending it to overtime. But, if Ackland makes a catch in the end zone, then it's a moot point. But I think there'd be a lot of people still talking about that from this day on. I mean, and even O'Shea said he thought it was the right call, but well,
of course he did.
Never know.
He won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he loved it. Yeah, please take the point. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah. I've just put a hat and a giant beard on me, and I'll show you exactly what he did. That's fantastic.
We'll find that filter.
Yeah, exactly. Kwaku, I don't know. Is that do you think that was? Do you think? Well, 2 questions that I have on that. One is they're on their backup returner, so I know no one will ever admit it. But did he just do it because he thinks that's what he's supposed to do, or was he told to do it? That was did anybody hear anything about that? I don't think they're gonna throw blame at anybody.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone would throw him under the bus either. So we'll never know. You know what I mean? We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah, but it was that. Like when that happened, did you do the same as like I know Mike and I were both like, what? Why did you do that? Or are you going with what the coaches are saying?
Yeah, and I think that I have a kind of a something I always say. What's that term? What's the term?
Motto.
Like a motto. Yeah, where it's like if you're entrusting someone to do his job, you got to trust them the whole way. You know what I mean? So if I'm on Hamilton's team and that's my coach and he says that, I gotta go like that. He sees it further than I do. You know what I mean? Whether he believes that the person on the field can't do it for him or whatever it may be, he has a reason behind it. You know what I mean? He's getting paid the big bucks for a reason, and I doubt he would trying to jeopardize this opportunity on a bad call. But again, we will never know what was actually told or what was actually instructed to happen. But either way, I think if I'm a true Hamilton fan, I gotta ride or die with whoever is out there. That's just how I see things, though.
That's a good point. All right, Kamish, what are your thoughts on the big game?
I mean,
That's a big swallow to start. Okay.
I'm really honestly so happy and proud of Mazzoli, of course, as a fangirl of him. And he came out and played a monstrous game, especially when they told him he wasn't going to start. It was Dane Evans. He completely and wholeheartedly backed up Dane Evans, was a true teammate. And then just so happened, Evans was playing okay, fine, and then got hurt. And then Mazzoli came out and he came out swinging. So I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more from Holy Mazzoli, so I was really excited.
So
about
Kayla,
that.
do you think they win if Mazzoli starts the game?
Oh,
That's a loaded question. Huh?
Of course, my heart is yes.
Okay, interesting.
Who
So you would have left
knows?
Mazzoli in Toronto as well?
I like the duo though. I think that Mazzoli probably wouldn't have showed up like he did if he would have played that last game.
Okay.
I think that not being a starter and then getting his opportunity pushed him to be successful in this game as he was. Personally, that's just kind of how I looked at it or how I saw it. Because Mazzoli he can be very hit and miss, but when you put him in a situation where he needs to perform, he generally.
All right. So another question. So if you're the GM right now, who are you keeping? Are they both on a 1-year contract right now?
Yep.
Interesting.
They're both up. They're both
So
up at the end of this year.
You gotta take one.
I'll let you answer first, Commissioner. I got a couple of ideas on this, but I want to hear what you say because I want to watch you stress about it for a minute. Yeah.
No. I honestly, I think they'd keep Dane Evans.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think they would.
Interesting.
He's just younger. They've got a bit of a longer stretch to go forth with him. He's good. He's got a lot of growing up potential. With that being said, I mean, we need a quarterback.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's where it's going. See, and like I agree with you. If they have to pick one, I probably go with Dane, just younger dude. But honestly, after Sunday, it depends on how bad is that injury.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
he was out for how many games because of a neck injury, and then he went out in this game because of a neck injury, and what can they do about that, right? And we can't discount the leadership of Mazzoli, but Mike, you and I both said on Sunday, whatever team that either of those guys play for, it would be better if there was a different starter and they always came in halfway through the first quarter, because they're better at coming off the bench than they are
this
as
year,
a starter. Yeah, like it's crazy, right?
That's interesting.
Although, I mean, Mazzoli seemed to do pretty well here.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay, we don't have to.
I mean, this is the guy, we brought him into the league, right? He came in with Edmondson, and he just seems to save up those special games playing against the green and gold.
Yeah.
So maybe if he was playing for the green and gold again, him and Arbuckle rotating, come on, that could be a pretty good combination.
See?
I'd be for that.
Yeah, Commissioner's always excited about that.
And he's not playing against us, so there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so Kwaku, which one do you keep?
Which one do I keep?
Yeah.
I think you guys are right in terms of they'll probably keep Dane Evans. Mainly because I think once they made a choice to put him in against Toronto, they made their choice for the future. You know what I mean? In a position like that, if you throw him in against Mazzoli, you're saying that when all the chips are up, or like when I'm up against the wall, I'm putting in Dane Evans. That's what you're pretty much saying. You know what I mean? So because if you go into that game in Toronto and they lose, then I would say, okay, then it's really a chess match that you don't really know who they would keep, right? Because they still lost. But for them to put them in any one, it's like it's awkwardness for you to go. You know what I mean? That's how I would see it. So I would probably take Dan Evans from Hamilton just because they made their choice already against Toronto. But so I would also love to see if Mazzoli is interested in, coming up to Edmonton. But that's gonna be interesting. But I'm tired of seeing him two-piece us on the D-line. Like, he's one of the worst quarterbacks to get after because he's so agile but so thick, like so big. you know what I mean, hard to take down. So it's like it's annoying to deal with him. So to have him on our side would be helpful.
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I like that.
More. Thanks a lot, Kwaku.
That's what Kwaku does. He comes on and makes us think. Been doing that for years.
It's true.
Okay, so then my next part, as we are talking about the game, just because I'd like to talk about the game as a whole, but halftime show. Anybody? Yay, nay? What'd you think?
Yeah. It was cool.
I thought it was solid.
Yeah.
If you're trying to attract that 20 to 30s crowd, this is a band that is very popular in the college crowd era, and if that's the case, then I mean, if it was me, my choice is always going to be you bring in the biggest Canadian name you can. I would be going after Drake. Like if you had Drake playing halftime, how many people that are not football fans are watching this game?
Fair.
But I don't know
Millions.
whether Drake would do it without.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. Because if he does, I think he's probably aspiring to do a Super Bowl.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in a way, it would be like I think it would always be, and plus to even discuss it, let's see if it would have to pay chunks of money, like not even chunks, like
oh yeah,
boatload, like
yeah,
you know what I mean, like yachts worth of money. You know what I mean? So I think that would be awesome for sure. And a lot of players always ask. Drake is one of the big, especially Americans. Like Drake's one of the biggest artists in the world, and he's from Canada. Why don't you guys ever get him? I'm like, one, I'm sure that they've tried, but it's just way too expensive. And the other question is, would he even do it? Right.
I mean, we had the Black Eyed Peas first, right? Black Eyed Peas played a Grey Cup in 05, and then they played the Super Bowl a few years later. So hey, I mean, it could be a good step.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And Black Eyed Peas, you said in 09 that was?
05.
05? Okay, so they're still in their prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they're trying.
Yeah.
And we got him first, right?
They're still in their prime.
Hey, why not get Drake here? And a few years later, you can do the
But
Super
I
Bowl,
do
and
agree that if you do get someone like Drake, it changes the whole. The numbers should go up, and it would put interest onto the league.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think he costs more than Hanson? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know he costs more than that. That was completely for the laugh. That's there's nothing more than that. That was that's good. Yeah. I will say as long as my team isn't in it, I love it when the Grey Cup goes to overtime. I love the format. I love the intensity. I love all those things. So I liked that part of the game. I hated that it wasn't just the walk-off field goal for the win, but it was but overtime is exciting. Now, Kwaku, what do you think of overtime in general? Being a player, like, is that like, okay, let's go, or is it like, oh my god, really? Like,
Overtime is like, it depends. If you're the underdog, it's the final 2 rounds of a fight, or the final round of a fight where you know what I mean, you're the underdog, where you have the stamina, you see the champion kind of fatiguing, you know what I mean? So it's a different mentality if you're the underdog. But if you're the top dog, or you're supposed to be the one that's supposed to win this game, you know what I mean, you're put in a weird position. But I've always seen it as when you go to overtime, especially with the rules where you score a touchdown, you basically win the game, right? You score a touchdown, you win the game, field goal, you know what I mean? So it really comes down to the coin flip. So at that point, it's not really about me and you mano playing football. It's really, we're adding a different element to the game, which is this chance, right? Which, you know what I mean, which is chance. The first coin flip is not as important as the second. If there is a second coin flip, it's not as crucial as the second coin flip. You know what I mean? So I think it adds a different level to the game, where it's like, if you go up against like an offense, like especially 2019's Hamilton's offense, or even now Winnipeg's offense, let's say, and they get an opportunity like that on even a decent defense, they might score. And now our offense didn't even get a chance to participate.
You just still get to play.
Oh, they get a chance to play. Yeah. In the CFL, you still get
rule?
a chance. Yeah.
So the NFL is if
you score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you score a touchdown, it's over in the NFL.
Okay. So it's
but in
over
the CFL, if you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2, and then the other team gets the answer. and they have to try and score a touchdown and score 2. And if it does, then you just keep going.
Yeah, but if they score, I guess scoring 2 makes it that much harder. But if they score, in the case where they score all of it, my team won't get a chance to play at all. So it's not really fair. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You still do
In the CFL. You still do.
Yep.
That's what happened last night. Yeah, the Bombers got the ball first, scored the touchdown, and got the 2-point conversion, and then Hamilton got their shot, got a very questionable penalty at the best of times, and then they were on their next pass, the interception, and as soon as they intercepted it, then it was game over. But,
I always thought it was the NFL way. But either way, I always compare that to like soccer when you go to penalty kicks. That's what I was leaning at, where it's like, yeah, it's soccer, or football in that case, but like, it changes the elements of the game. Right. So to answer your question, it just feels exactly like a penalty kick, where it's like, it sucks to be in that position. Period. Just because you're not able to play the game like how it's the most fun, where there's quarters, where there's, you know what I mean, where it's like a normal game. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, that's great. So congrats again to our Bomber friends. Always, cool to see somebody go back to back. We haven't seen that in 10 years, like you said, Mike, but now they can start losing, and that's fine. It's time for some other team with gold to start winning. I have one in particular that I prefer, but
yeah,
I think we know that. There was some other talk during the week. Of course, Grey Cup week is always good for lots of rumors and lots of excitement. One of the things that came is the deal that the CFL has made with Genius Sports. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Or Genius Stats? I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, but it's pretty vague on what they're doing with that. But what it sounds like is that there could be increased stats, but I personally am wondering if they're setting this up for in-game betting. What did you think? I'll start with Superfan on this, because you probably might know more than me. Likely know more.
It was Genius Sports.
Thank you.
I mean, they are partnered with the NFL, XFL, basketball. Like, they're partnered with everybody. So I think that it's good to get into that same market as all the major sports in the world, right? EPL, NFL, all that stuff. Anytime when you can get someone who that's their expertise on board to help you grow the game is a good thing, as far as I'm concerned. We will see. They get a piece of not the CFL, but their little subsidiary, which a lot of people started going, they own the CFL, and that's not true. I'm interested to see them get all kinds of new ideas. Some of the ideas I've heard over the weekend, I'm less a fan of. So
I'm getting there.
I'm sure. Yeah. If a lot of people want to do the betting and it's going to get interest, the NFL makes billions with a B on sports betting. So if we can get a small piece of that into the CFL, get the players paid more, get some better conditions for the broadcast. You throw an extra $100 million at the CFL a year, I think we could see some improvement for sure.
Yeah, so I saw Kwaku smile when he said players get paid more.
Yeah,
that's good.
They're the game. Without the players, what are we cheering for?
Absolutely. So you inferred a little bit there, but if they're talking about all of the different rule changes, or they're going to look at everything in the game and see what would be good, what would not be good. But of course, one of the things that came up was the possibility of going to 4 downs. Now, Kwaku, what is your opinion on that? You've played in this league for a long time. You've played 3 downs for a long time between, high school, college, and now into the CFL. What's your feeling on that?
On the CFL potentially going 4 downs?
Yeah.
I always thought it was an interesting concept when you play like high school football. I think things might, since I've been out west, I think things are different out here. But when I played high school football, it was 4 downs, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 4 downs for me. So I always found it weird when I found out the CFL only has 3 downs, and on top of that, I had to be a yard behind, right? So, but I'm coming to learn that the GTA is kind of different from out west. You guys start from 3 downs from the beginning for most athletes here,
Right.
so it's not that big of a difference for you for people out here. But from my perspective, I think the bigger field and having 4 downs would just be irresponsible. Like, because
Thank you.
I don't know how else to say that. Like, because
As a
the game
defender,
is
you're
already
like, that's not fair.
the game is already unfair or to the advantage of the offense, right?
Sure.
So with all the motions, with all the that's what I was trying to say earlier about the overtime issue. The offense is already. It's so easy for the off. Maybe I'm biased on defense, but the offense is already in position to prevail. They can motion. They have a yard. You know what I mean? When it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, what they're supposed to do? Just like it's a free yard most of the time. You know what I mean? It's not like the NFL where they're colliding right away, right? So I feel like if you give them another down, right, and it's still only 10 yards that they have to get, and the field is as big as it is, what? And they're motioning? That just wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair at all.
Why
because
even
I
have
feel
defense at that point?
Pardon?
Just why even have defense at that point?
That's what I would say, because there's so much motion. If they had 4 downs, they would just They would use the waggle, boom, boom, catch it for 3 yards, boom, boom, catch it for 3 yards, run the ball, get for 4 or 5 yards, then do that whatever I was saying before. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be fair. At least in the NFL, you can't do that because the spaces are so different, right? Everything's so much tighter, right? So you can't rub on each other as much, and plus you can't waggle, you can't motion as much, just freely. So I feel like having the extra down would just make it. I think, you know what? If I wasn't so biased as a defender, I could see it from a fan standpoint and obviously from a money standpoint, is that it would make games more fun because it'd just be scoring. I could see that. as the only advantage, is that, the game would become even more aerial. You know what I mean? Even more passing, even more touchdowns possibly. And I think that the field is just too big for you to continue running it. But then imagine a team like Montreal would stand back, a good run team.
That was my example.
They might just run it. And as a defender, that would suck. You know what I mean? Because they can. With stand back, he's going to give you 2 yards. He's going to give you 3 yards easily. You know what I mean? You can bet on that. So do that for.
If Zach Collaros gets hurt, they could just Sean McGuire sneak it all the way down the field because it's just
exactly
2-3, 2-3, 2-3.
Exactly it.
First
and
down.
then the field's so big that you can't even compress the pocket too fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if it's a play action, just chuck the ball on a corner. Chuck the ball. Don't even be accurate. Chuck the ball and just have your guy fly to the corner because that there's that much space. So to answer your question, no. So I just been going on tangents. Every time I come on your show, I just go on tangents.
That's okay. That's one of the reasons that we love you, man. This is fantastic. Yeah. Mike, I'm pretty sure you're just gonna, say exactly what Kwaku said as far as 4 downs are concerned. But any other thing that they came up with that you're like, oh, maybe that's an idea?
Well, I mean, they've talked about revenue sharing for the first time in a while.
Wonderful.
Again, as a team that traditionally has had, other than this year, but this year is kind of a write-off with COVID, the top 2 attendances in the league. We've always been more of a have team than a have not, financially speaking, at least in the last 40 years, 50 years. But the league doesn't exist if we don't have those teams, right? So the teams like Montreal, Toronto, BC, those tend to be the ones that are having the biggest problems. So if you go to the United States and you use the CFL model in the States, Green Bay wouldn't exist. They're not big enough to be able to compete with the New York Giants or now the 2 teams in LA. Who can just throw money at it, just like you see in baseball with the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers every year. So if you can make it so revenue sharing, but it's tough because if you're a community-owned team and you're paying money to teams owned by billionaires, it's hard to swallow, right? I mean, Saskatchewan is always going to be earning money these days. But 25 years ago, 30 years ago, Saskatchewan is having to have a telethon just to keep afloat. And Toronto was helping Saskatchewan keep afloat. So, I mean, it just, what goes around comes around, I think. And at this point, like I said, if we don't have teams, then we're going to be losing players because we have to contract. So let's just keep the league strong as a whole, and I think we got to go with it.
I love that idea, and when I heard it, it was something. Well, you and I have talked about it many times, but
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, you mean the teams are actually going to work together
Yeah, hard to believe.
for the success of the league? Wow, I like this idea. I'm
Mhm.
on this. Okay. Kayla, did you hear any of the other stuff that was going on, or were you just like watching everybody's party videos and be like, I wish I was there, or what was going on?
Didn't we
The
all?
FOMO was so strong. So strong.
Yeah.
I was just in self pity on the couch all the time, all week. Like, oh man, but yeah, I all I heard was about the 4 down and a little bit of the revenue sharing. That's about it. I don't think I heard about anything else. I'm mostly just like on Twitter. I'm like, pish pasha, scroll nonsense.
I can see you actually literally saying that.
I literally say that
Nice.
with the accent, literally.
Fantastic.
Was there more? Did I miss
No,
something?
no. I was just checking to see what you felt about those or where you were at with that. That's all. I was just checking.
I mean, 4 down. I watch NFL. Like, I don't need 4 down in my CFL.
Mhm.
Again, pish off. Ugh. No. No. As a traditionalist, no. I mean, you guys got to hit all the points, but for me as a fan, I love the CFL because it's different. So.
Yeah. And if we didn't already have a title for the show, I would totally call it Pish Posh.
Yeah.
Next week.
Keep that.
That's right. Yeah. It's very important. All right. We've bashed around everything from last week. Superfan, let's go to the YouTube comments and questions and see what we've got to chat about there.
YouTube Live.
YouTube Live. Thank
it's
you.
true.
Ted. Yes.
What do we got here? So we've got Randy McDonald saying, greetings from Toronto tonight. The game was very slow to build up. We certainly got a lot in the end. Hard to agree there. I disagree for sure.
Yeah.
Did everyone find it kind of slow at the start? I mean, I certainly did in the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, it was all 2 and outs at the first quarter, right?
Right. So like, if you missed the first quarter, Kwaku, you really didn't miss a whole lot. It was just, I mean, from a defensive standpoint, there were some great defensive plays. But yeah, it was, like I said, just a lot of 2 and outs there as everyone kind of felt each other out.
Really?
Coach Vic,
Oh
yes,
my.
Coach Vic says we should play all Grey Cup games on the second weekend of December, sorry, +8, no snow. Yeah, that's coming to Regina next year.
No.
I mean, I don't know if the players want to be out there in the middle of December in Regina, but do the fans want to be sitting in the stands?
He's like,
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
not that. No.
it's bad enough playing there in early November,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Playing
Yeah.
in December, yeah, it's a hard pass. Tim Capper says the wind at the Grey Cup reminded me of the Alouettes Cats playoff game in Guelph in 2013. Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. That was windy.
Yes. Well, that's like that game that we had with Mike. Was that in 2016 where he only threw for 45 yards and we still somehow won the game because of the wind was just, it was brutal. Yeah. So
yeah, it was earlier than 16. But so Coach Vic says that in his opinion, yes, they win with Masoli. If Masoli would have stayed in the game, the East Final.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. I mean, I almost wonder in these days with these quarterbacks getting injured, how many quarterbacks didn't get injured this year and in 2019? Do you almost have to have a really solid second quarterback, almost like a 1-1A? We got to get that third string quarterback back on the roster. Like that's been tough for some quarterbacks when you see Nate Bahar having to be the quarterback for Ottawa at one point because they only have 2 quarterbacks and they get injured.
And we all know Kwaku's like, yeah, put a receiver back there.
Really good in the Wildcat. Yeah. Tim Capper says, how does the Rouge go down in Grey Cup lore? Does it surpass the 13th man of 2009?
Oh, no.
No.
No. I will never get tired of watching Glenn Johnson with the old too many men call at the end of the 2009 Grey Cup, and Saskatchewan fans were a little upset, but that's all right. Ken Ludwig actually agrees, says, nope, not being able to count to 12 is still number one for me.
Okay. Perfect.
And then Randy McDonald says, in the end, both plays were equally bad, talking about the 13th man and the Rouge, and both teams gave up significant fourth quarter leads. That's another point that we haven't really talked about.
That's true. Yeah, 12 points for Hamilton yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
It was a tough one.
Yep.
Coach Vic says, if we threw 5 Toronto Raptors onto the field, Drake would definitely do halftime. So maybe. Maybe. I mean, if it's already going to be in that sort of area, if it's going to be in Southern Ontario, why not? Tim Capper says, what about the weekend?
What about it? It was Saturday and Sunday, and it was... No,
Randy McDonald says he doesn't remember.
That was a horrible old man joke. Sorry. I couldn't help myself.
That's actually funny.
Thanks, Kwaku.
Like I said, Randy McDonald says he doesn't remember much of his weekend. So
the week, I wonder what I don't know what the weekend was, because the weekend would be on par with the Drake too.
He did this,
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to have him. I don't know how many CFL fans like the weekend though.
Oh, I would.
the question is
People
it
out of
the CFL fans, or is it for people that aren't watching going?
I'd still go.
Pardon?
If it was Calgary and Saskatchewan playing each other for some oddball reason and the weekend was playing, I'd freaking go to that Grey Cup.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And is it for the CFL fans, or is it to get new people to watch, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's true, but I always question how much of those people actually are retained.
True.
Right? When you go for almost like a clout-based approach of trying to like increase your following, essentially, right? How many of those people actually will stay, and how many people are just showing up for halftime and watching and cutting? But you are right; you will get a certain percentage. But my question is, if you're going to pay that much money for the weekend or the Drakes, right, you know what I mean? What's your return on your capital? You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
Hey, 2012 had the Biebs. Justin Bieber was there.
Do you think Justin Bieber would do it again, though? Now, even though he's not even close to his prime, he's not even at his prime anymore.
Well, I mean, if you throw in some Timbits, maybe.
You took my line. That's awesome.
100%.
Make him wear 3 of those fanny packs and then sell them afterwards. He'd make more than enough money to get back what you had to pay him to do that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Coach Vic has a question for Kwaku. When you were playing your high school, when you were playing 4 down, was it on a smaller field or was it on a full size, like a wide 65-yard field?
It was a normal NFL field. Yeah.
So
and that's why I was so shocked when I came out here. When I saw like CFL fields was your normal for fields. I mean, back home it's like, no, it's just NFL fields, or it's like regular soccer pitch fields, right?
Right.
Okay. So, but when you were at Laurier, was it Founds there too?
Oh no, Laurier was 3 down.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. That'd be wild if University was 4 downs.
Well, and then it would.
And then you go pro to CFL
to go to 3 downs. Yeah, I know. That's
yard off the ball.
Crazy.
That's usually
a completely different game. You'd be confused.
That's the question we always ask the Americans when they come up. So you came up and now you get this giant field and you're only playing 3 downs and you have to play a yard off the ball. What did you think? Yeah. And they're all like, "This game's weird." Yeah, but
yeah.
Tim Capper is asking what Kwaku's thoughts, and I guess everyone's thoughts on, did the right player win the MOP? Not sure if he means in the game or over the season. Or same guy in this case. But do you think who else could have maybe been the right choice for MOP?
That's for me? Oh.
Yeah. You start, Kwaku.
Oh, no, I've been talking enough, man. You go first.
Well, I don't. Well, no, Commish, you didn't get to start first. Who do you think it should have been, Zach, or do you think there should be a different MOP in the game? Not for the season, but in the game.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. That's a tough one because they did come back at the helm of Zach to win it, but it was kind of I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I can't make that decision.
That's fair.
Just only that's who gets the MOP.
Should have been. Superfan. I'm gonna take our joke from yesterday. I was just glad that it wasn't Asterisk Harris. That's good.
Right?
Can't be him. He can't win MOP for anything anymore. Um, I was really happy with the Canadian choice. And as far as MOP in that particular game, I don't know that anyone else stood out enough to say it had to be that person. So I could see where it could be Zach. Um, I don't. I have a hard. Well, I know he did really, really well in the season, but I would say it was a closer battle between him and Standback for MOP of the season
Mm-hmm.
as compared to the game. So
100%.
now, Kwaku, you're up.
Um, I think you got to give Cloris the MOP. Because again, like you said before, it's no one really stood out that much because of such a back and forth game. But I think also Winnipeg has been since I've been in the league since 2017, they've been a pretty good team, like a pretty solid team. But they were never able to go over the hump, over the hurdle. And now you've gotten Cloris, where he went from so many obstacles in the past 5-6 years.
Yeah.
With, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
going back and forth. And now he's on a team where literally they were good. They were always good, but they weren't good enough. And then as soon as he came, they just you know what I mean? It was just that little switch, that fine little difference. So I feel like just from that, if you're confused as to who should be the MOP or kind of like on the fence of numerous people in Winnipeg, you got to give it to him just because you guys, like Winnipeg wasn't able to do anything past playoffs until he came along. So that's just my 2 cents. But that defense is a very stout defense, very good
for the season?
defense. So quarterback, you're blessed with that defense. Pardon?
What do you think for the MOP of the season?
I would probably give it a Standback just because he balled out this year, and it's nice to see a running back. It's nice to see a non-quarterback win MOP. You know what I mean? And I think for Montreal as a franchise, they've come a long way. At least when I say they come a long way, or when I reference things like with the time range, I mean since I've been in the league since 2017. Right. But you know what I mean, they've come a long way, right? So I would have loved to see that just for their franchise, and also just to see a non-quarterback out there. And I do truly believe he's been a good piece for this game. Period.
Yeah.
Agreed. And Superfan?
I think if, let's say they don't take the knee, they march down and they kick the field goal. To me, it's got to be Masoli. I mean, he went 80% passing. Like, that's outstanding. I mean, he didn't have a ton of yards, 185 yards passing, but it just seemed like when he came in, everything settled down and they started to move after going 2-and-out under Dane. You can't really give the MOP to the losing quarterback, though, as much as you might want to. It's not like hockey where the opposite goaltender, the losing goaltender, can win the Conn Smythe Trophy or whatever. But I think you almost had to give it to Caleros for the old reasons everyone said there. No one else really stood out, right? You're not going to give it to Rasheed Bailey as much as he had a pretty solid game, or Darvin Adams or whatever. I mean, no one got over 100 yards, so I don't know. What else we got for questions here? Coach Vic has a thought about perhaps a rule change is maybe changing the play clock. He's saying maybe increase the play clock 5 or 10 seconds.
Ooh.
And I think if they did it more like the NFL, like they set the ball and blow the whistle right away instead of waiting and then setting it, because it's 45 seconds the NFL, but it's not the same as the 20 seconds we have. Right, where they have to wait till everything's set, where they just should blow it right away. And then, so I don't know. What do you think about that?
Kwaku, you go first. What do you think about that?
Changing the play clock?
I don't know. I don't think I really have much of an opinion on it, just because I haven't been able to experience the NFL play clock in a live game, right? So I think that I think it wouldn't really. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. Yeah, I can go either way.
Okay, I could see it. I know we kind of, go a selling point of us having that 20-second play clock, but I would be okay if they set it in and blew or started it right away if it was like 30 seconds, but
Right.
I don't want to go the exact same way, right? So
Yep.
because there are lots of times too where they're lining up with 15 seconds left on the clock and they're just standing there
Right.
trying to draw the guys off. So, and that's one of the parts of the
Yeah.
NFL I don't like.
Yep.
So I would like it to get up and okay, look, see where people's at. Great, let's go, start playing. As a fan, I want to see more get up and go and not stand around and wait. So
All right, I think we've got just two more. Tim Capper wants to know thoughts on CBA negotiations coming up. I think it's this May we have a new one.
oh yes, it seems like every May we have a new one.
Sure feels like it.
It's just, like Kwaku, do you hear a lot from the PA during like the off season when we're going into this? Because you've been here now for what, 3 different negotiations already, and you've only been since 2017.
Yeah, I think this is going to be my 3rd one, but it's mainly just communication once in a while, just about questionnaires and whatnot. But you don't really get into the thick of things until closer to the date. But most of it is just behind in the back, right? They're doing everything themselves, and then they come up to us, ask us for questionnaires or give us questionnaires or whatnot. So I'm just hoping that we're in a position where we can negotiate, you know what I mean? So, and actually be partners with the CFL because we are going in a different direction, especially if we are able to add betting and add betting to its fullest length or to its full potential. There should be definitely a lot more money roaming around, but more importantly, just making sure that the game is safe. You know what I mean? It's the league is actually taking care of its players, taking care of rookies, taking care of people that are coming in, and finding a way to take care of individuals that are coming from America, are coming from different places, and giving them support on and off the field. So it's so we can fix, you know what I mean, fix the 1-year contracts or fix the back and forth movement. It's just more so find a way to make it more either guaranteed money or find ways to make it more advantageous for an individual to actually sign somewhere for longer than a year or be interested in being in one place for more than their contract, right? So giving them a reason to actually stay and making the CFL something worth being a part, you know what I mean, as a player, you know what I mean, instead of something where it's like, oh, okay, it's not the NFL, you know what I mean, I'm here, let me just make the best out of it, like make the CFL worth saying that you're part of, you know what I mean? And I think that as the league got to find a way to create a partnership instead of I guess almost like a like dictatorship, how they want to run things. But I hope the CBA goes a bit more fairly, but shoot, you know what I mean? It's CFLPA's job to make sure that they're doing the best that they can.
Would you ever go into the CFLPA? I mean, you've got a business background.
I think that there's people. I'm a pretty busy dude, so I got my own things to deal with. From being honest, from being real, but I got the ideas. It's more so. I think they don't really have a real partnership with the league, so I don't know how big my voice would be, right? And so that's my 2 cents. So I just let them do it, and like just from my personal experience, the league seems like to have a chokehold on the CFLPA, every CBA, right? So so you know, like it's not much I can do. I'm more so interested, like we were talking about last time, of finding a way for someone to pick me up as a GM, man. Yeah. So find a way to pick me up.
There's an opening.
I was going to say
president. You know, that's what we're talking. You know what I mean? So, but I digress.
Well, have we ever had a GM player at the same time? That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Imagine.
Give yourself a really good contract, I guess. Yeah.
You know, so we just re-signed Kwaku. It's a 10-year deal. 10 contract guaranteed.
I want to be there at that press conference when you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And then I got to explain why we signed Kwaku Boateng.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
All
that,
right,
Kayla?
we've
You
done-
cut out. What was you?
What?
You cut out. What did you say?
Oh, just like go into the boardroom and show me hula hoops. They'll find out.
10 years, baby.
Imagine, Andrew,
10 years.
Imagine the end of every press conference. I do the
Yeah.
hoop, but then at the end of each conference, all right, we're done here, Ben. All right,
That's right.
hula hoops.
Can we bet on that? Or like,
There's a prop bet.
How many?
Oh, Bo! I tell you, Bodog
Oh
is
shoot!
going to be all over it. We do have just a couple more questions. Coach Vic says, Kwaku, how did the missed season and then the shortened training camp and then no preseason games affect you or the team?
I think it's just hard for you to mesh as a team, especially when you have a lot of moving pieces. So when you look at teams that have pretty much the same core group, whether it's on offense and defense, I think that was even more of an advantage this year than ever before. When you have moving pieces, whether it's players, coaches, you know what I mean, all those staff members, all those people changing, you need those preseason games. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan of just playing the game, but having preseason games, in our case, would have definitely helped just because we had so many different pieces coming into the season. But again, there's no really excuses for no point in making excuses. You still got to go out there, get W's, and win games, and succeed.
2022.
That's right. Yeah, it's pretty
Coming.
exciting.
And then last question from Leanne. Random question. Does Kwaku have any pets?
oh,
No, I don't have any pets. Unfortunately, I'm a clean freak. So
Right.
as much as I want a dog, I want the mess of a dog. So if I had a dog, I'd have to hire someone to clean after the dog. So I'm in this weird cycle of I want a dog, but I don't want to clean up after a dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think eventually, once I move out of my condo, if I were to get into a house, I'd probably get a dog.
Nice.
And I think a dog would be very, very cool. Like a Doberman or a German Shepherd. If I'm gonna get a dog, I want my dog to be protective. I don't want a dog that's just there to chill with me and take up all my money. No. You got to come out here. Listen, if I'm feeding you and I'm sheltering you, you got to provide something too, honey. You know what I mean? So it's like I want a dog that can actually bark and back it up. So that's to answer your question.
Like you.
Again, another.
100%.
Stole my line. Yeah, I was gonna say just like you. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you for going through those, Superfan. Let's go to your hoard items really quick, and then we'll come back with a couple more questions for Kwaku.
Sounds good.
Bring in here. What are your latest finds?
Well, as many people know, this last week was the locker room sale. Much like 2020, they did it online. So we didn't have to line up starting at midnight out in the middle of winter, which was kind of nice. So I managed to get a couple of items for the room here. So first up, I got a jersey. So this is a game worn. Hopefully you can see that.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe.
Yes, game worn.
So there we go. A little Kyle Saxelid. I've always been a big fan of the offense and defensive line, so being a chance to get a jersey from another lineman is always a great thing, especially when a lot of times the line doesn't get as much love as the the pretty boys, as I always call them, the wide receivers and maybe the linebackers and stuff like that. I also managed to track down for those people that haven't been. CH Cafeteria is a favorite haunt of ours. The coffee is phenomenal. The chocolate is out of this world. And they started adding some new savory brunch items, which is kind of nice. So managed to track this one down as well. Diego Villamontes, and he did sign that for us on the weekend, which was kind of nice.
Awesome.
And then grabbed this.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
So that is Tremaine Washington's helmet. They only had 10 helmets available.
Yeah. No kidding. They were all gone by the time I got on there.
They went within, I think, 5 minutes for the first 9, and then Darrell Walker's was gone a couple minutes after that. So, I just loved the fact that there's the the Joey sticker on the
Yeah,
back.
that's the reason I wanted it. I wanted it for that. I mean the antlers is I really wanted it for that sticker.
And then I figured, why not show one more thing? This has been around in my collection for about, I'd say about 4 years. So I have this lovely helmet here.
Ooh, very nice.
You
Yeah.
can maybe see the number on that
Hey,
one.
that's a nice helmet.
This still needs an autograph. There's a nice spot on there. But this
Yep.
is the 2017 rookie helmet.
Yep.
So
Oh.
yeah, this is. Oh right, so this is the old one.
Oh.
That's the OG right there. Yep.
Oh, we need to get that. Ooh.
Please
like
do.
This. Like this.
We'll find a time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, super fan, you did well once again, and I am
It was a good
extremely
week.
jealous because I could not get on right at noon to get one of those buckets. But oh well, one of these days. One of these days, I'm going to harass Kwaku enough, and he'll just give me one. That's fine.
Yeah.
Totally looks like it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's right.
That's how I feel.
I don't even have a bucket yet. I don't even have my own bucket yet.
Oh my goodness, what is going on in this world? This is not okay.
I know,
Let's.
I need my own bucket.
You need your own. Come on, man. All right, let's quickly go to. I mean, you've been wearing your toque the whole time. Tell us a little bit about Sacks for Racks because that's your big off-season adventure, and I know you've got it's busy during the season as well, but definitely in the off-season you do lots with that.
Yeah, Sacks for Racks is just a brand dedicated to aspiring pass rushers, developing them. And it's just a brand that I came up with in 2019. And that was right before, that was, I think, 2019, it was 2019. That was right after my rookie contract. But that was just a saying that I always had to myself. You know what I mean? The more sacks we get, the more racks we're going to get. The more sacks we get, the more racks we're going to get. And I just took that to a new level where now I'm running camps across Canada and just really just trying to inspire the younger demographic. Just, if you want to play football, decide to be a pass rusher. You know what I mean? I think it's the most fun. I think it's probably the safest spot, and it's a great way to make money. You know what I mean? So that's all Sacks for Racks is all about. It's really just about being very blunt and honest with young individuals and just telling them, football is a great avenue to go into, especially from a discipline standpoint. But if you're not going after the money, then what's the point? Right. So we're really just encouraging these athletes to come out, have fun, obviously, but also understand that it's going to take a lot more than just coming out. You got to come out with a different mentality that I think a lot of these kids definitely leave with a different mentality, knowing that if they do want to go pro and take this seriously and become a professional, there's a lot of work that has to be done. And I think that's what Sacks for Racks is all about. It's just educating these individuals, educating these teenagers that if you want to go pro, whether it's NFL or CFL, wherever it may be, it's going to take a lot of work, just like everything else in life, on and off the field. So Sacks for Racks is, again, it's really just a brand about inspiring young individuals to play football. And if you do play football, be a pass rusher.
That's fantastic. Now, if you're I know that you haven't announced anything quite yet, but there will be announcements if we follow you on Twitter and things for where these camps are going to happen.
Yes, sir. If you follow Sacks for Racks, and it's just Sacks and then number 4 and Racks on most major channels, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can find us anywhere. But yeah, we're gonna be running a few camps throughout Canada, and Edmonton's definitely on that list. So check out Sacks for Racks. Keep an eye out for end of March, and I hope to see some fellow Elks fans out there too.
Well, I know one that'll be there for sure. So it's not me. It's not me. Don't worry. It's my kid. Yeah, but he's very.
You gotta get you pass rushing, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Pass rushing, pass out rushing. That's what I do. Yeah.
You can work on the Hulu. We can work on the Hulu.
Yeah. Kwaku,
There's a separate class.
Nobody wants to see that. They make you. Yes, me. We can be very clear about that right up front. That's not going to happen. Now, I want to quickly jog back to the Elks for a second. Lots of talk, obviously, over the Grey Cup weekend about different coaches, GMs, lots of things about Chris Jones, some things about Dave Dickinson, some things about even Mike O'Shea. Um, and, and now, you never played for Chris Jones, but if that was the choice, I mean, he's a defensive-minded guy. Is that is where do you stand when you're hearing all of this stuff when it comes to GMs and coaches and all these things?
At the end of the day, it's a business, right? So I know there's going to be a lot of moving parts, and with that, it's really like when you play football, especially when you play pro sports, you start realizing that a lot of things are out of your control, right? So in a circumstance like that, I don't really ponder about it too much. I focus on I really just beat up to the rhythm of our own drum, right? And if the new management comes in and they're supportive of my players, supportive of my character, then you know what I mean. Then I'm here, right? So I don't really I don't really ponder about things that I can't control. I think that Edmonton has a great organization, especially historically has a great organization. So they're definitely going to take their time and find the best candidate possible to fulfill that role. So I'm not really concerned about that from an organizational front. But yeah, for me personally, it's really if they're interested in Kwaku, then they're interested in Kwaku, right? And at the end of the day, I built a lot of great relationships here in Edmonton, and if things continue, then I'm happy, and we can continue having these interviews. But if not, then it's just how life goes, right? But I think they're going after all the right people. You know what I mean? People that have W's under the belt, and I think that's what we need to get back to, getting W's.
That's awesome. And just so that you know, it doesn't matter if you're here or not. We are still doing these interviews. I just that you don't get off the hook that easily, dude. That's let's make sure that's very clear right up front. Superfan, give me your opinion on a few of those things, just because you know people will ask. What do you feel about some of these names and things that are going around?
Um, it's so tough to
Um,
answer this, just
yeah.
because there's so many things that are involved, so many moving parts. It's not just you getting a head coach and then maybe bringing over their offensive or defensive or even special teams schemes. They'll be bringing some players along with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bring over Chris Jones, you might get some of the defensive players from Toronto joining the team and merging with the guys we have. If it's Mike O'Shea, maybe you'll get some of those Bomber players. If it's Dave Dickinson, who's another name being GM and head coach, who knows who he'd bring along, right? So whoever is going to be able to take what we have, tweak it a little bit, and take us to that next level, that's the guy I want to see. Someone that can make those fans jump up because they've brought some of that exciting football back. You know, that sounds great to me. There was we have to get the GM first before we
Yes.
get a coach.
Yes.
Unless but if you're getting someone that's a GM,
yeah,
unless you get someone who's the coach, and can we afford it with the
right.
fact that we're still paying for, you know, players' contracts are guaranteed, but coaches and GM contracts are.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to pay for these guys even though they don't play team. So that may sort of force our hand for the next couple of years. So
Entirely possible.
just give me some name that can go there and we can start getting ready for 2022 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, whoever it is, they really have two requirements. One, they need to find a way to connect with fans. I have a great way. This podcast right here.
Just
They could
saying.
do that. That'd be great. Yeah. The other thing is they need to want to sign Kwaku Boateng. That's really. I mean, it's not a hard thing that they have to put out. They just
So we need.
This just should be one of the questions. Will you bring back Kwaku Boateng? Yes. Great. Here you sign. Kamish, what do you think about all these names?
The CJ is more of a really okay. I understand from a winning standpoint from that, but I'm just like the longevity and the culture thing is a really big thing that needs to be repaired right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about the winning atmosphere. I think that the culture and the behind the scenes things were really broken. And I don't know if that's I want to give everyone a chance or perhaps a second chance as it were with CJ, but I don't know. My pettiness is like I just want to dismantle the bomber so bad that I'm like, welcome. Okay, or even like the stamps, just like, oh, the pettiness in me is so raw and fresh, and I'm just like sitting here like, so I can't really talk about like the business aspect and what's right. Like Kwaku, you definitely would know more about that. My concern is from the fan point stand and the culture stand and taking what was built with the Edmonton Eskimos and applying that to the Edmonton Elks and making it strong and holding that culture to a certain standpoint that the former Eskimos had built. You don't want to lose that. It's so important to the community. And then the pettiness of the fan inside of me is like, let's go in and just break this whole league up and but I know that the whole money aspect is a huge issue, so I don't think I'll get my wish on the pettiness side. But you know, I mean, I want to have that winning culture, but I also want that experience back where I was really proud to be a part of an organization that gave a crap. I guess I felt like this season was very monotone and very, so I mean, fix your Twitter for one. Anyway, that's a whole different story.
Well, and who knows, with depending on the president, like that might be part of it too, right?
I was just gonna say the president. I mean, one name that's come out is Paul Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He's vice president of TSN. He's the executive producer of the live events. He's an Edmonton boy. He grew up here. He played football here. He did some stuff with the Wildcats. Sorry, coach. As well as he was a fan going to Clark Stadium and then Commonwealth. He played with Hank Ilisic in high school football, who is a guy that's obviously in the Hall of Fame. I think that to me, for what the president's role should be, leave the football stuff to the football ops guys and have the president get us on TV, bring in some money, get the fans coming back. That should be their role. And I think he'd be a pretty fantastic person to get there.
Well, and know how to run a live show in the stadium, because that's what brings people in, right? Is you win, yes, that's one piece, but you want to have an experience in the stadium that you can't have anywhere else. And a guy that knows how to run a show, I think that might be a guy who knows how to do that.
The players are going to win whether you're there or you're on TV. So what is it besides the great play that's going to bring you to the stadium?
Right.
You need to have chemistry in your staffing. You need to have that dynamic, and it can't be a tyranny. Let's just say that. It's got to be clicking on all levels and not just,
Yeah, that's fair. I'm waiting for the next season when they have the hula hoop cam. It's going to be amazing.
Nice.
Right?
Or maybe get some fans in the field and everyone can who does the best hula hoops.
See? I like this. It's perfect. Kwaku,
I mean, we already know who can judge it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kwaku stands on the sideline. 7.
Put me down on field with the hula hoop cam. I'll be all up in that. First Kwaku.
See? These are the ideas. These bring the people in. Yeah. Just bring the people
in. You have to pay me. I'll be free.
Well, maybe not Calvin's family, but we're all allowed. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Oh my. All right. Quickly, I got to talk about the CFPN Fantasy League, because that did wrap up on Grey Cup Sunday as well. I send my congrats out to Joe Pritchard of the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast, who beat me down this week. So frustrating. It's like everything went wrong yesterday and everything went right for Joe. He will be getting the belt. I have become the Calgary Stampeders. Not only did I have a wonderful season and a crappy playoffs, but I did let the belt go south of the border. I don't know what I... It's brutal. I need to stop that. So, but congratulations, Joe, and thank you again to Ryan Coop. And make sure you follow all the great shows, cfpodnetwork.ca. Also, before we go here, this episode is also brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network. A new show to check out this week is the Let's Do Coffee podcast, presented by Nate's Maji Center. Each interview is with an entrepreneur about their challenges, questions, fears, and successes as they run their companies. So you can check out Let's Do Coffee and all the other great shows at albertapodcastnetwork.com. I actually picked that one, Kwaku, because I figured that's a podcast you could go on someday, because you're that entrepreneur kind of guy that could just, you have all these new brands and ideas, and I would love to hear how you kind of started and where you went from, and maybe we'll have to have you on this show to talk about that, but I think that's right up your alley.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Business is something I've always had a passion for. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for doing this, man. This was awesome, and we love having you on. We love the laughs. We love chatting with you all the time. And I know the commission. I know we can't say too much, but we got to see you recently for a little special event coming up for the Elks, and it was awesome to see you, man. I mean, that was probably that moment of this almost normal, just being able to hang out and chat with you. And so thank you so much for coming back on, and we love having you on. But tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find Sacks for Racks, and keep up with where you're at.
Yeah, just check out Sacks for Racks, sacksforracks.com, and just keep in touch. Ask questions. Pretty much, yeah, that's about it. But I just wanted to thank you for having me on the show. It's always a blessing just to sit back and just talk about just football, talk about CFL, talk about anything really. So, and thank you guys for support. And that extends out to all the fans that are also watching. So, thank you guys for always supporting the team and supporting me if you do support me.
Absolutely.
Of course they do.
Of course they do. How can anybody not support a hula hoop? Okay, super fan Mike.
And there's rated E.
Oh, yeah.
For everyone.
Rated E for E. Yeah, okay. That's what Commissioner does every time. Oh, I don't know where that one came from. Anyway, Superfan Mike, where does everybody find you?
Oh, I can never follow that up. You can find me at 56 Sparkies. And you can find the history and the Horde segments at Edmonton History. That's at EDMHISTOREE.
Like I said, it's very close to a song. It's fantastic.
It almost is.
Yep. Commissioner?
On the Twitterverse at Duchess Lombardi.
Twitterverse. Ooh, look at that. That's exciting. You always come up with a new one every time. I do appreciate that. Make sure you're following our good friends at Pay It Forward with Football. They, of course, are finishing up with the Stuff a Wallet campaign. Want to make sure that we get some donations and make someone else's Christmas a great Christmas. So check them out on Twitter and on their website. And of course, you can join in the huddle with us at the Turf District. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We would love to hear from you and chat more. We are going to be back next week, and it'll be our season wrap-up show. It's everyone's favorite show, other than this one, of course, because Kwaku's Kwaku. But we will welcome back the 6:30 Ched boys, Dave and Morley, back in to wrap up this season, talk a little bit of off-season, and we know, or we don't know, but there might be a chance that we're talking about a new GM and head coach at that point, because we know that they wanted to get that done before Christmas. So next Monday night, join us for that conversation. It's going to be amazing. And so we will be back on right around 8 o'clock as per usual. Thank you so much for joining us. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. And if you're not, why aren't you? Please subscribe to the channel and join us every Monday night for a chat. Before we leave tonight, I do just want to send out some thoughts to a couple of our good friends, yes. Tyler and Bill. And that's a tough one for me, but I do want to send out our best thoughts to both of them, and I'm hoping that they're doing better. So for Kwaku, Commissioner K, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.